Hello, my name is Maya Liu. I am the Wellness Program Coordinator here at Ellenville Regional Rural Health Network, and today we are going to record a class that took place on November 13th called Type 2 Diabetes Prevention. We're very happy to have you. If you weren't able to make it, please join us. Again, my name is Maya. I do have my master's degree in nutrition and dietetics. I'm a nutritionist specializing in chronic disease prevention. I am the wellness program coordinator here. We have lots of good programs, fitness classes, prevention classes, and we look forward to seeing you here in person. Okay, so what is type 2 diabetes? Type 2 diabetes is a chronic condition that affects the way the body processes blood sugar or glucose. The body either doesn't create enough insulin or it resists insulin. The pancreas, which creates that insulin, can't keep up, and then blood sugar rises. High blood sugar can cause other serious health problems such as heart disease, vision loss, and kidney disease. Some symptoms of type 2 diabetes include frequent urination, increased thirst, hunger, fatigue, blurred vision, slow healing cuts or unexplained weight loss, and in some cases there are no symptoms at all. Some risk factors for type 2 diabetes include obesity or being overweight, being age 45 or older, having a family history, parent or sibling that has type 2 diabetes, having a poor diet, not having a great diet, high blood pressure and high cholesterol are also risk factors, physical inactivity, and stress. Also, a risk factor for type 2 diabetes is being pre-diabetic. Prediabetes is defined as an A1C, which is between 5.7 and 6.4. An A1C is a simple blood test that just measures average blood sugar levels over the past 3 months. It is one of the most common tests to diagnose prediabetes and diabetes. So here are some statistics which aren't great to hear, but good for us to know. As of 2022, the type 2 diabetes total in the United States, 37.3 million people have diabetes, and 11.3% or 11.3% of the US population. The pre-diabetes total is a bit more staggering. 96 million adults have pre-diabetes. That is 38% of the US population. In New York State alone, it's estimated that 1.7 million people, or 11% of the adult population, have been diagnosed with diabetes. So there's a link between diabetes and cancer. People with diabetes, unfortunately, people with diabetes have a higher risk of developing certain types of cancer, and about 20% of cancer patients do have diabetes. U.S. research studies have estimated that diabetes is associated with a 25 to 41% increased risk of mortality from any cancer. So what can we do? Diabetes is one of the chronic diseases or illnesses that can be prevented. According to the CDC and WHO, the World Health Organization, individuals who lost 5 to 7% of their body weight and added 150 minutes of physical activity a week were able to cut their risk of type 2 diabetes by a whopping 58%. So that's only 22 minutes a day of exercise. That can include things like gardening, walking, doing things around the house. It doesn't mean that you have to go to the gym. And for example, somebody who weighs 160 pounds, 5 to 7% of your body weight is only 8 pounds. It seems daunting, but it is doable. Maintaining a healthy diet is crucial to type 2 diabetes prevention. So, something called My Plate. I'm not sure if people remember the food guide pyramid or the 4 food groups. Now it's called My Plate. This is put out by the USDA, and it is a general rule of thumb to maintain good health. And it is to eat this way. Your plate should look something like this. So you want to make half of your plate fruits and vegetables. You want to vary your veggies. You want to focus on whole fruits. Grains, you want to make half of your plate grains. So this includes things like brown rice or quinoa. You can even do oatmeal. Things like buckwheat. You want to stay away from the whites in the sense of like white potatoes, white rice, white pasta. If you are going to choose a pasta, you want to do a whole grain pasta. Now they make pastas with protein in them, which what they do is they use things like lentil or chickpea flour, and that helps to make the pasta more nutrient dense, or just pick a very nice quality pasta. Same goes with potatoes. Potatoes are not bad for you. What happens is the way we in the United States tend to eat them is fried. French fries, baked potatoes that are loaded with lots of butter and sour cream, and all these things are wonderful to eat, and you can eat them on occasion. You really just want to, if you are going to eat a potato, make sure you eat it with the whole skin. Do things like bake it or roast it in the oven. Another option is a sweet potato, which is very nutrient dense. And also, for example, white, like rice, you want to try to use a long grain rice or even a brown rice or wild rice. Protein, we're talking about a lean protein. Things that are recommended, the types of proteins that are recommended on a regular basis are things like chicken breast, even chicken thighs without the skin, fish. Any sort of fish is really important because it has those omega-3s. Red meat is okay on occasion, provided that it isn't high in saturated fat, which most hamburgers, things like that are. So you want to try to pick lean meat whenever you can. If you already have diabetes, or if you are pre-diabetic, this is what the diabetes plate method looks like. And so, for example, instead of having fruits and vegetables, you are going to try to fill half of your plate with non-starchy vegetables. And the next slide will show you examples of non-starchy vegetables. On the other side, you want to choose a carbohydrate food. So that would be things like your sweet potato, your brown rice, or your whole grain pasta, and then a lean protein. And instead of having dairy, which I didn't really go through on the previous slide, which is an option for my plate, you want to choose a water or a low calorie or 0-calorie drink. So here are some examples of non-starchy vegetables. They are lower in carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. The key, if you are eating for diabetes prevention, is to choose complex carbohydrates. So items that have fiber in them as well. And non-starchy vegetables are lower in carbs. They are high in fiber, but they will not raise your blood glucose very much. Like I said, they're higher in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and all those things are very important in regards to how your body processes them. Fiber will slow down the absorption of glucose. So you want to make these part of your diet and part of almost every meal that you eat. Some people call them superstar foods. Filling half your plate with non-starchy vegetables means that you will get plenty of servings. So for example, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, anything from that cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage family is very healthful. Carrots, celery, cucumber, and the list goes on. Any dark leafy greens, you could just do a big salad on the side of your plate, and that's going to be very helpful for you, specifically for helping to prevent type 2 diabetes. A meal dietary pattern that's very popular and that has been proven to be beneficial for good health is the Mediterranean diet. In general, the Mediterranean diet is proven to be the most helpful for prevention of chronic disease. So the foundation of the Mediterranean diet is plant foods and meals built around vegetables, fruits, herbs, nuts, beans, and whole grains. So there is a small or moderate amount of poultry, dairy, and eggs, and seafood. And in contrast, red meat is eaten only once in a while. Fish is a key component. So here's some interesting facts that I was alluding to in the previous slide. The body only recognizes carbohydrates. It does not recognize if those carbohydrates come from sugar in coffee, a soda, a fruit or a vegetable, pasta, or a Snickers bar. However, fiber and fat will help to delay carbohydrate absorption in the bloodstream. And this is really important when you're making choices about how to eat your food. Soluble fiber, which is, there's two types of fiber. There's soluble and insoluble, and they both are very important. But soluble fiber, which has been found in oatmeal, beans, and fruit, has been clinically proven to reduce blood sugar levels in the blood. So if you eat oatmeal every morning, if you have a fruit, if you eat beans, those types of foods that have soluble fiber are proven to help maintain and lower blood sugar levels, which is really important. They've also been proven to reduce cholesterol, so that's another added bonus. And protein, although it can help to make you feel fuller longer, it won't delay carbohydrate absorption. So for example, if you're eating to prevent type 2 diabetes and would like a sweet treat, something like a clementine would be great because it has fiber. Dried cranberries with nuts, for example, nuts have that good fat. You've heard the term good fat versus bad fat. Even eating vanilla ice cream, if you needed that little bit of dessert, that has fat in it. So that's going to help delay the carbohydrate absorption so that you won't get a shot of glucose into your bloodstream. Oatmeal with brown sugar, oatmeal has that soluble fiber. All of these things are better for you than having a soda with pure cane sugar in it or eating a Twinkie. So here's some examples of the nutritious complex carbohydrates that I was mentioning. Contrary to popular belief, like I said, carbohydrates are not the enemy. They are your body's only natural energy source. I think in recent years, carbohydrates have been in the media, and they do get a bad rap because the key is to eat complex carbohydrates and not simple sugars, things like are in a Twinkie or in a donut. The complex carbohydrates have that fiber and micronutrients that help to regulate blood sugar, and they can also help to prevent heart disease in the end. So some examples of complex carbohydrates include brown and wild rice, like I mentioned, oatmeal, as has been mentioned before, whole grain rather than pearled barley, but any sort of barley would be good if you don't have a gluten intolerance, quinoa, buckwheat, and starchy vegetables like potatoes and sweet potatoes, even corn. Non-starchy vegetables include the list that we mentioned before, like asparagus and zucchini. There's something called the 15-15 rule, which is really important. Type 2 diabetes can cause both blood sugar highs as well as lows. And the general rule of thumb is that if somebody has low blood sugar, which is called hypoglycemia, to eat 15 grams of carbs, then wait 15 minutes for blood sugar to stabilize. So this is also called the 15-15 rule. So here is a healthy eating menu example. For breakfast, we want to eat something like oatmeal with blueberries and Greek yogurt, or whole grain toast with egg, cottage cheese, or avocado, or and coffee, black or with low-fat dairy or green tea. For lunch, something like a shredded rotisserie chicken or even sliced chicken breast with mixed greens and vegetables and an olive oil-based vinaigrette. You can also make something like that into a wrap, or use a whole grain bread, or make yourself a salad bowl. You can also keep it vegetarian and make it with a grain. You can have a side of something like black bean salad, which is delicious. You can make black bean salad very easily by chopping up some onions, opening up a can of beans and rinsing them. You can put olive oil, lemon pepper. Sometimes you could even do something as simple as mixing salsa with black beans, and there you have a black bean salad, which is great for lunch or dinner as a side. Something also like a kale and white bean soup. So any sort of soup that you eat, it's always best to make it from scratch at home. I think the canned soups are very flavorful, but unfortunately they are very high in sodium usually, so you want to keep an eye out on that. If you do eat soup, you want to make sure that it has greens in it, like a minestrone, and beans. Beans are very high in fiber and they're very good for you as well. They have that soluble fiber, which I was mentioning before. So for snacks, anything like apples and a nut butter of choice, like you could do peanut butter. If somebody has an allergy to peanut butter, then you can do, nowadays there's sunflower butter, almond butter, cashew butter, all of those. Another option is hummus with carrot sticks, celery, any sort of vegetable that you like. Nice 2 cups of popcorn. You can pop it by yourself or buy a nice brand that doesn't have too many flavorings or sodium in it. That's a great snack because popcorn is a whole grain. You can do something like organic tortilla chips with that homemade black bean dip. You can do exactly what I just said, and if you have a blender, you can just blend all those things together and voila, you have a dip. So it's very easy to make and also easy to eat healthily as well. For dinner, something like a salmon or other lean fish or lean protein of choice with a balsamic glaze. You can take chicken thighs, boneless, skinless chicken thighs, put balsamic vinaigrette on them, or even Italian dressing, and pop them in the oven for 30 to 45 minutes, and they will bake and they will be delicious, fall off the bone. So you want to eat that with a side, let's say with a roasted sweet potato or brown rice or kasha, which is buckwheat, or quinoa. Always, always, always try to have a leafy green salad or chopped vegetables of choice. So again, you want to make half of your plate vegetables or non-starchy vegetables if you are pre-diabetic and diabetic. And if you aren't and just following the My Plate, you could do a little bit of fruit and also the vegetables as well. So the take-home message is, according to the World Health Organization and the CDC, that type 2 diabetes is up to 80% preventable through nutrition and lifestyle changes, even if the person has genetics as a risk factor. This is really important. It is preventable, and you can reverse type 2 diabetes in many cases. So much of it has to do with nutrition and lifestyle changes. So we did a food demo in the class, and it was really great. What I did was I created a turkey pinwheel. So I bought lavash bread. I'll just explain it so that anybody who's watching can maybe recreate it. So any sort of flatbread or pita even of choice, or a wrap, you spread your hummus of choice on there, spinach, turkey slices. I mean, you could do it with any other sort of lean meat. I do prefer turkey because it doesn't have nitrates in it, and that's also something you want to keep an eye out for when it comes to lunch meat. And then we sliced some red peppers on it, and then we rolled them up and then cut them. And it's a great snack. You can eat it for lunch or you can eat it as a snack. The other thing we did was I did an apple pie yogurt parfait. So that's just a fancy name for Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, followed by applesauce. I bought unsweetened applesauce, followed by another layer of Greek yogurt, applesauce, and I crumbled granola on top of it. It's quite delicious. You can eat that for breakfast. You can also choose vanilla yogurt if it's not too much sugar for you. You can also do fresh berries as opposed to applesauce, but either of those are very simple to make and delicious foods, and an example of an easy way to eat very healthily. Here at Ellenville Regional Hospital, we have a program called the Pharmacy. It is bi-monthly, so 2 times a month, we have a free drive-through of fruits and vegetables. In the summer, when it's the height of the growing season, we work with local farmers to get food distributed to us. We do have our schedule on the calendar. We will probably start again in March, and it goes through December. So please welcome anytime. Please come. We in the heat in the height of the summer, we distribute anywhere from 85 to 100 bags of produce. And that is free of charge. There's no cost to it. Here are some of the resources that I utilized to create this presentation, and I wish all of you well. Again, my name is Maya, and if you have any questions, I can be reached at the hospital. I am at extension 281, and the phone number is 845-647-6400, and we look forward to seeing you, and continue to be well. And if you ever need anything, we are here to help at the Rural Health Network. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.